NCAA basketball tournaments, also known as March Madness, have become a huge business success. As Forbes' Chris Smith wrote, CBS and Turner Broadcasting make more than $1 billion off of the March Madness games, thanks in part to a $700,000 ad rate for just a 30-second spot during the Final Four games. Athletic conferences receive millions of dollars in payments from the NCAA when teams advance deep into the tournaments, and same goes for other sports. The athletic directors or coaches will also receive compensation when their team does well. The NCAA makes a whole market of $6 billion annually. Before I started my research on this, I thought that I was going to persuade you guys that the college athletes should be receiving a stipend for all of their work and part of the NCAA. But after looking into the facts, it does not make much sense to actually have this the case. The students need to realize that they are not school employees and they are students first. I interviewed 3 college athletes. The first was a college baseball player named Drew. He is on a partial scholarship, and I asked him what he thought about potential compensation for playing his sport. He believed that due to his scholarship, he did not need compensation, but that if the money were there, he obviously would appreciate it and take it. He said that if he was not on scholarship, he would not even consider playing a college sport due to the fact that he puts in so much time and effort, and he said he feels like he has the school on his back if they win or lose, that it's too much pressure to not receive anything, but that the educational scholarship is enough to keep the athletes wanting to play. He also talked about meal money and explained to me that they are given a certain amount for road games or meals to eat with the team, and he said that he first started to complain and say that it wasn't enough, and that for about 6 meals, if they were to eat 2 days on the road, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they would only receive $40 each, and that it wasn't enough for where they wanted to go or what they wanted to do. Many athletes argue that they need more meal money or just compensation in general because they don't have time to get a job. They need money for new clothes or extra to go out with their friends, and this doesn't make any sense because how many of you guys don't have an unlimited budget being a college student? Probably the majority of all of us. How many of us tend to eat ramen noodles or cold pizza if we have to get by, or can't go shopping whenever we want? We adapt, we budget, and that's the way that college is. Not being able to afford things is a way of life for us. And the athletes are not any different than that. As I told this to Drew, he actually admitted that sometimes him and the team will just go to Taco Bell and pocket the rest of the change that they don't spend. It just depends on where they choose to go out to eat, which they do get the choice most of the time. College kids mostly have minimum wage jobs anyways when they are working, and that doesn't supply enough for them to actually spend it on any extravagant lifestyle that they wanted. The average college student does eat, like I said, frozen pizza or ramen noodles when needed to be. And the wages that the students earn from their low-income jobs cover such things such as their rent, tuition, groceries even, things full-ride athletes don't always have to worry about. The second person I interviewed was a volleyball player, and she really valued her education and said that she did not plan to make a career out of volleyball, although she was on a full-ride scholarship at her private university. She did not believe in compensation. Mark Emmert, some people might recognize him, is the current NCAA president, and he stated that we want to make sure they, the student athletes, get degrees and that they really have the education that sets them up for life. That's the game changer here, not the 3 to 4% that make it to the pros. And that's one thing that I thought was really important and went along with what my friend on the volleyball team said, was that, you know, the degree is what's going to, in turn, promote their, or satisfy their life needs in the end and get them a job, whereas not the small amount of people that actually make a living off of their sport. So therefore, they're students first and athletes second. And scholarships can count for covering tuition fees, room and board, textbooks, and meal plans or meal money. Some athletes only receive partial scholarships like Drew that I talked about, but that's still more than the average student's aid. Lastly, I spoke with a football player, and he decided to focus on the fact that he definitely needed compensation and how ridiculous it is that he's not getting paid, because every day he's putting his life on the line, going on the football field, and said that he's really worried about the fact that he could get injured at any time and therefore not go pro and ever make make an amount of living or money off of his sport that he's been working on his whole life. But then we started to talk about how, what if the BCS Bowl was really the BC $ Bowl, and that then the football game of college would just completely change. Each team would be playing in the BCS Bowl, would be the ones that were paying the most athletes the most money. It would not have to do with the university itself and any academic perks of going there. And they would in turn be solely employees of the school and not even have any educational purpose and drive towards that. The current first and only team right now that this is currently being debated on is the Northwestern Wildcats football team. This is a private university, therefore the Federal Labor Agency has no jurisdiction over it. These players formed a workers' union that was successful. They became employees for the school, and the football team claimed that they were performing an academic service to the school. Therefore, they changed from just being student athletes and are now paid just like the coaches. But what varies is that the coaches aren't going to class, the coaches aren't caring about keeping up with grades, and really there's no way for these players to be on the same playing field with salaries as the coaches. It makes no logical sense for what the educational purpose behind college really started out to be. And this school stirred up a lot of debate currently. There are many unsolved questions for public universities today to play players. They need to bring athletes to value their educational scholarships instead of pushing them away from it. Athletics has become a full-time job for players, and it has shied away from the importance of why they're even going to college in the first place. Students need to remember that the athletes need to remember that they are students first and athletes second. Thank you.